Hello, everyone. I'm Ryan from Fireside Yankees. This is episode 7 of the Fireside Yankees show. As always, joined by my friend and co-host Sam. Sam, we're not just talking about the first place New York Yankees, as in, oh, they're up these amount of games, this is the magic number, blah, blah, blah. This is not just a playoff-bound Yankees team. This is the AL East champions of the 2024 MLB season, the New York Yankees, who, not to say that they were underdogs, I would say the Yankees were, they were considered a good team coming into the season, but they were not universally considered to walk away with this division or run away with this division. We anticipated this series to be a series where the Yankees were stressing the hell out about the AL East. If I told you the Yankees dropped 2 of 3 in the final series against the Orioles, I think you and I would agree back in August that meant they lost the division. The New York Yankees are AL East champions. They needed just to win one game in that series. It took them a couple games. It took a little bit, maybe a couple games longer than you'd like, but they're AL East champs, and it's very well deserved. This was a team that, they've had their ups, they've had their downs, but they have certainly responded well. And yeah, man, I mean, it's just, what a ride for this team. What a ride. Sam, how you doing, man? How you feeling?
I'm good, dude. Couldn't be happier that we're finally talking about this. I feel like it took long enough, but you have the great, incredible sunglasses on today to commemorate the occasion. I don't have anything on necessarily because I wasted my Play the Song shirt 2 days ago because I figured we would get this done a lot earlier, but it is Friday morning and we're able to talk about how they were able to lock up the division last night, and it was fun, man. Granted, over the past month, we've been talking about how great this team has played, and they really stumbled this week, and it was not a fun series overall. But last night was a good time, and it was a great culmination of everything that's kind of happened this season. And as far as people being down on the Yankees and how great the Orioles are and that kind of stuff, and they walk into this final weekend comfortably taking the AL East home, which is really great to see. Great moments from last night. Had a lot of fun. Putting 10 runs on a division rival is obviously a blast. Gerrit Cole going out there shoving. Judge has 58 homers. He might hit 60 again, which is absolutely unbelievable. But the Yankees are AL East division champs yet again. First time since 22. Last year feels like it's in the distant memory at this point because it was so awful. But of course, guys, before we get into it, got to do some shout-out stuff. I have the green on because I'm trying to win some green. On Fireside Bets. Go follow Fireside Bets on all platforms. Giving you guys banger parlays every single week. Sleeper code is Cash Money. If you want to go out there and go make some bread on sleeper picks, they will match your first deposit up to $1,000. Go check that out if you're in a good state for it. And then our social media channels as well at Fireside Yankees on pretty much everything. Fireside.Yankees on others. Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, everywhere you can find us. We are on the space. We are here. Let's talk about this team that just went out and stomped on the Baltimore Orioles last night, at least, and what they were able to do this week, Ryan. Let's dance, dude. I'm excited.
Yeah, man, and what I think it's this last night's game. Last night's game was incredible, man. I mean, Gerrit Cole was on his game. He was incredible. This was following a performance where he threw 9 innings of 1-run baseball, and it was basically carefree baseball against Oakland. He didn't really look like he had moments where he was he's shaky, doesn't look great. I feel like Baltimore kind of gave him a little more of a challenge, but dude, he cruised at the end. He was just dealing, and he has a 2.25 ERA in his last 10 starts, dating back to the start of August. He looks like the ace. He looks like the Cy Young winner. He looks like everything you want Gerrit Cole to look like. But it got started scoring-wise against a Corbin Burnes who was, I mean, for all intents and purposes, dominant in his 5 innings. It was Stanton who got him. Stanton hit that solo home run. It gave the Yankees a 1-0 lead. They would never relinquish that lead, again, thanks to Gerrit Cole's efforts. They would get another huge, and I mean huge, hit from Giancarlo Stanton when he clears the base on an RBI double later in the game. They pulled Burnes. I imagine it was to rest him for game 2 of the wild card and game 1 of the wild card series, but I still found it a weird move because the division was in play. It's not something that I would say, oh, Brandon Hyde's a terrible manager. It's just it was just a decision. It's just one of those things where it's talkable, but I don't really care to talk about it. Cano comes in. They swap out Cano for Perez once he loads the bases. Perez walks in Wells, and Stanton comes up, and it's a seed, dude. His ability to just drive the ball to all parts of the field, incredible power is insane. That's 116 miles an hour. That's 116. And look, Ciano Perez is a pretty good reliever. You know, it's like he's a bum or anything like that. So it's not, you're talking about a guy who it's garbage time. You know, it's Matt Bowman, you know what I mean, who washed out with the Yankees in spring training, like that kind of thing. Now we're talking about a legitimate major league reliever. But that's 90. That's 116 miles an hour to center field, son. Cedric Wells is a great defensive player. That's 116 to center field, son. You're not getting that one. You're not getting that one. You can get on your horse, make a great read, make a great jump. You're not getting that one. And it's that ability for Giancarlo Stanton to step up and perform when the Yankees need him to, that I think defines him as a New York Yankee. And I hope he has a big postseason that this team can get the job done, because if he does that, it will define him like forever as a New York Yankee, as the guy who stepped up when the Yankees needed him most every single damn time. And it's poetic that he's the one who, I mean, he's the MVP of that game. Obviously, Judge had another home run, 5 straight games of the home run. But Sam, he was the guy who last year probably received the brunt of the criticism outside of maybe a Carlos Rodón. And he's the one who puts the division away. It really is. It's how beautiful baseball is. It really is a beautiful sport. And this is your guy, man. This is your guy. So I kind of want to let you take over here now that Stanton's a subject of conversation.
Yeah, this is my boy, man, and it was awesome to see, just because of, all the criticism and all the backlash. And even earlier this week, man, there was a lot of bad things being said about Giancarlo Stanton on the internet. And furthermore, for the past year and a half, there's been a lot of really bad things said about Giancarlo Stanton on the internet. This guy showed up this year, healthy, played well, 27th home run last night, number 27, hits his 27th home run. And it's poetic, man, like you said, bro. Last year, 86 WRC plus, plays 100 games, is literally awful. There's these clips of him running like a tortoise. He literally has no athletic ability anymore. Just has an awful 2023. Comes into camp this year, looks incredibly skinny, gets hot. Obviously, the injuries, they're going to come. It's inevitable at this point with Giancarlo Stanton, just because of how big he is. But when he's on the field, this guy's lights out, man, and he's incredible. And for a team that, outside of yesterday when it was legitimate garbage time runs, it was literally ninth inning garbage time runs, this team couldn't hit against the Baltimore Orioles. And they could not hit Corbin Burnes last night. But he dinks in that solo shot last night, his 27th homer of the year. They get the bags loaded. He clears it with that 116 mile per hour double, an absolute gap shot, a piss missile, a rocket, as you would call it, to put the Yankees up 5-0. At that point, it was Stanton 4, Orioles 0. It was unbelievable to see. And it's very poetic about this New York Yankees team. And I think it probably resembles what this Yankees team is this year, right? Giancarlo Stanton comes out last year, very disappointing, very bad baseball player at the subject of it. Negative 0.6 F4 last year, right? Yankees last year, 82-80. Yankees come out this year, they add the new superstar, but you can't forget about the old superstar you added 5 years ago, who's still going to be a productive player for you. And he comes out this year, 118 WRC plus, higher WRC plus than he had in 2022, Ryan, mind you, when he was an all-star. He started the all-star game, MVP of the all-star game. Very fun first half for him. Second half was very teetering on and off. It's pretty bad because of the injuries. But Stanton comes out just like the Yankees this year, coming off of a really bad season, high expectations, comes out and delivers. And you really see it in this clinching game because of the 4 RBIs and because of what he was able to do. I love this guy's story. I love what he means to me as an individual. I love what he means to the fan base, because he's the most polarizing player that the Yankees have. Outside, it's probably either him or Gleyber. I think they're the most polarizing players that this organization has. And when he's on, that boy's on. And getting him right going into the postseason, where you can go out there and line up Gleyber, Soto, Judge, Wells, Stanton as a 5. That's unbelievable offensive production. And if you could get something like that in a playoff game, like we saw 2 years ago when he hit that big home run against Cleveland, this is what you want to see from Giancarlo Stanton. So I was smiling ear to ear when that was all happening last night. Could not be happier for my guy. And I think that he needs to keep this momentum rolling into the playoffs. Maybe they give him the weekend off, let him rest a little bit, let him get off his feet. But I couldn't be prouder for the guy. It was unbelievably awesome to see what he was able to do last night, Ryan.
I mean, it was just It's awesome to see so many redemption stories. Rodon's going tonight, and obviously he could have a bad one and kind of muff up the season numbers, but I would say he's a big catalyst to the Yankees getting to where they've been in the division. He had a really strong second half, and he propelled this team. He's a guy who you could argue sunk their season last year. Had he given them competitive starts, would the Yankees have been in the postseason? Who knows? Looking even at, as you mentioned, a guy like Giancarlo Stanton, looking at a guy like Gleyber Torres, who was awful in the first half and has figured it out and has become this team's leadoff hitter. Kind of the stamp, or I guess the kill shot at the end was the Aaron Judge 2-run home run. That man's special, right? Like I was looking this up this morning. Not a single right-handed hitter has had a higher WRC plus than Aaron Judge in a single season in the entire history of the sport. So this is dating back to 1871. 1871, man. Like this is a special talent. This is a talent we will never see again, arguably, for the New York Yankees. We may never see a guy who hits home runs the way that Aaron Judge hits home runs, the frequency in which he hits home runs. He's the best player I've seen with my two, or at least the best hitter I've seen with my two eyes play. Right? Like I wasn't really around for Barry Bonds. I wasn't born from 01 to 03. In 2004, like that's the regular season. I was born October. So, I wasn't around for Barry Bonds. I wasn't. So obviously I've seen Mike Trout, Miguel Cabrera in his peak years. I've seen Albert Pujols in his peak years, although he's a little younger for that. But none of that compares to what Aaron Judge has done. And did you see that article this morning that was dropped about him holding a players-only meeting earlier in September, back during that Texas series? And that was a brutal season for the Yankees. That was a kick in the nuts, right? Like the Yankees should have won that series. They dropped the ball. The walk-off home run that Clay Holmes allowed, I think, gave the Orioles a temporary lead in the division. It's the vibes then were awful. They were terrible. And he called a players only meeting, and that just goes to show not just the player he is, but the leader he is. This is a team that, for all intents and purposes, is going to always be discussed, right? They're always going to be talked about, and it's rarely ever in a positive light. If things are going well, all right, we'll wait for October. If things are going poorly, they won't win in October. It's never kind of like benefit of the doubt. And granted, not winning a World Series in 15 years with the New York Yankees, that plays into it. Coming off a season where you haven't made the postseason, that definitely plays into it. But I think it's sick that he was able to, pull the guys together and they went on this run. And Aaron Judge, the run he's gone 5 straight at the home run, man. 5 straight. I don't know if greatness is even a respectful word to use when describing Aaron Judge's play. It's out of this world. He truly is incredible. And I wanted to backtrack a little bit to Gerrit Cole here because he got off to a really poor start this year, not just with the injury, but the Mets shelled him twice. They had a rough start against. He didn't pitch particularly well at all, really. If we're gonna be honest, like to start the year, he looked terrible. And now he looks like the Gerrit Cole we're used to seeing, and I wouldn't even say used to seeing. He's not the same power pitcher he was like in 21 or 22. He's more of a crafty guy now. I saw him mixing in more two-seamers, which is a pitch he hasn't thrown since he was in Pittsburgh. He's so important, and I'd argue he's maybe the key to this team winning a World Series because if he can be that guy, cross off game 1 as a win. If you go to a game 5 in the ALDS or game 4, because that's probably when you pitch, cross it off as a win. ALCS, same business. Cross those off as wins, dubs, wins, and wins. When you can start kind of, I'm going to win this game, I'm going to win that game. You shorten a series, that's how you win a World Series, man. It's Gerrit Cole, in my opinion, that's the key to this team.
Yeah, I could not agree more with you. And the thing with Gerrit Cole is coming into the year, he was obviously, the big injury thing, and everybody kind of had to step up into his place, and they did for the most part. Like the pitching staff was unbelievable when he was away, which, then he kind of comes back into this fold, and it was like a weird question of like who gets pushed out because all 5 have been so great, right? He comes back, was not awesome whatsoever. Like you said, he got shelled by the Mets a couple times. And, the past, month to month and a half, he's really kind of locked in and like been that dominant pitcher that we've known him to be. He won the Cy Young last year, for crying out loud, and this team was absolutely horrible. But I will tell you right now that, I walk into a game with Gerrit Cole and bump in a playoff series, I'm very confident. When was the last time that Gerrit Cole pitched in a playoff game outside of the 2021 wildcard game, which is very horrific? It's a very horrific experience. I don't want to rekindle that moment again whatsoever because it was an awful outing. Outside of that, with the season on the line or like game on the line, like whatever, when has Gerrit Cole came out and give you a bad start? Like the Houston start 2 years ago, he gave up 2 runs, right? And I think it was like 2 through 5. And like, you're going to take that from a starting pitcher. When does he came out and legitimately got shelled? If your offense can get a job done in the postseason, I'm taking Gerrit Cole. 100% I'm taking Gerrit Cole. I keep seeing this question float around, like, what playoff environment would you want? Like, what ideal playoff environment? Like, if you can win one game, who's somebody you want on the bump in that specific stadium? Give me Gerrit Cole in Yankee Stadium, dude. Like, I know there's a lot of discourse about, Zach Wheeler and pitching in the bank. And the Tigers have been really hot. Let's see Tarek Skubal, at Comerica. I will take Gerrit Cole over a Framber in Houston, over a Zach Wheeler at the bank. Anybody. I will, like, Martians have the death being pointed at Earth. I want Gerrit Cole at Yankee Stadium because I think he can give you 7 shutty and guarantee that you win a playoff series. That's how confident he is. That's why he makes the money that he does. And that's why the Yankees have so much damn confidence in him, because he is the best pitcher on the planet when he is right and when he is going. And last night, when the season was legitimately on the line, Ryan, I promise you right now, if the Yankees don't go out there and win that game last night, we are sweating this weekend. Because the Yankees have to face this weekend? They see Jared Jones and Paul Skeens. Jared Jones and Paul Skeens are incredible starting pitchers. Pittsburgh is coming to town this weekend, right? Don't love that scenario when you're in do or die mode and you face 2 incredible pitchers, especially Paul Skeens, who might be a top 3 pitcher on the planet already, and he's a rookie, right? You don't want to see that. But when you got your ace on a bump against a guy that is in Cy Young contention in Corbin Burnes, you go toe-to-toe with this guy, and you go out and you shove and you give one of your best performances of the season against a division rival, against somebody you probably will see in the playoffs again, you lose words for it, man. That's how incredible Gerrit Cole is. I do want to tap back a couple notes that I have here. Aaron Judge, what is there to even talk about with Aaron Judge? I'm starting to lose words about how great Aaron Judge is. And the biggest thing that I kind of want to cap off of Aaron Judge here is Aaron Judge played 157 games in 2022. He's played 157 games in 2024. Aaron Judge has been better this season than he was in 2022. Aaron Judge hit 62 home runs in 2022. Aaron Judge broke an American League record in 2022. He has been better this season. Across the board, career highs in RBIs, okay, kind of a useless stat. I don't necessarily love the RBI stat, but like clears that.
It's a pretty number, man.
It's 144. It's 104. That's almost an RBI a game. That's kind of nuts, right? 144 RBIs. Career high in batting average at 325. Wipes his career OBP. This guy gets on base at a 46% clip. Previous career high was 425, right? Career high in slugging percentage, where he's not hitting as many home runs as he did in 22, but he's slugging 708, Ryan. 220 WRC plus. That's like 50 points ahead of anybody else. 50 points ahead of anybody else in the sport. Shohei, he clears you by 50 points, pal. I don't want to hear that argument. And has a higher F4, has been a more valuable player in Major League Baseball than he was in 2022 at 11.3 F4. That is unbelievable. You run out of words on how to talk about Aaron Judge and how great he is, because you kind of he steps up to the plate and you're like, oh, he's going to hit a tank. He's going to hit a double. He's going to get walked. He's got a 460 OBP. Oh, he makes contact with the ball. He's probably going to shoot a 115 mile per hour rocket into the gap. He's probably going to tank one over the seats. Like, what else is there to talk about with Aaron Judge? He's the best player on the planet. I don't want to hear a debate. There's nothing there. And he's the best player that I've personally ever seen. I again, was also not really attentive for the Barry Bonds thing. But Aaron Judge is the best player that we've ever laid eyes on, and probably will for the next 20 years. Having a peak Aaron Judge on your team with a peak Juan Soto and a peak Gerrit Cole and a resurgent Giancarlo Stanton, rookie Austin Wells, Jazz Chisholm, Jason Dominguez, New York Yankees. Go out there and win a damn world championship. This is your window. The time is now. Go out and win a damn championship, man, because this roster's ready. The city's ready. Everybody is ready to go. Take it, man. Finish the damn story. Finish the story.
That's beautiful, dude. This team, I feel like every time we talk about this team, you know, obviously there are two things that are always true about the New York Yankees. Number one, they're always like they're always in contention, right? Like they're just, at least in our lifetimes, they've always been in contention, and it's always been about what they do in October, right? And that's why a lot of people have been really disgruntled with the Yankees over the last decade plus. But this team is arguably the best team in the American League, right? I'd say that they are the favorites to win the AL. The National League is loaded with very good teams, and the postseason is very unpredictable. So being the favorite, it doesn't carry the same weight that I'd say being the favorite in like the NFC or the AFC or the Eastern Conference or the Western Conference. You know, I think we both understand that fundamentally. But hey, if you're the best team and you've got the best odds, that means when you're talking about rolling the dice, it's the best chance that you get your outcome, right? When you flip a coin, the best chance you win it. Each series the Yankees are going to have to play, and they're going to start in the LDS, which is an advantage. They're going to play one fewer series. I know, look, if the Yankees lose in the first round, a lot of people are going to blame it on the rest. Like, oh, they had so many days off. Why we shouldn't have won the division, blah, blah, blah. I think that's BS. That's making up an excuse. If they don't win the ALDS, it's because they didn't play well enough. It's because they weren't good enough. Because they didn't do a job. It's that simple, right? The Astros swept two teams in the first two rounds with the bye in 2022. It didn't affect them. You know what I mean? We won our first round matchup in 2022 with the bye. Granted, we won in 5 against Cleveland, but we won that series, right? Like we won that series. Just because the Dodgers can't stop getting out their own way, just because they're throwing out Lance Lynn in Game 3 of the NLDS, that's not my problem. You know what I mean? Just because Atlanta, you know, they're playing, and granted, you know, I think part of it too is like the Phillies are so good, right? Like, why is it really that bad to get beat by Philly in the first round if you kind of look back on it in hindsight, given the talent they have? So that factors into it as well. I guess the Orioles getting swept last year, sure, but guess what? The Orioles lost to the Rangers. That Rangers team was pretty good, and also like that's not our problem, right? That's probably the one time where you could really argue that in the Dodgers series last year with Diamondbacks, like a team genuinely got embarrassed in the first round despite having the bye. And again, like looking at Houston, they beat Minnesota in 4, and it was a dominant Game 4 win. It doesn't affect a well-built roster. It doesn't affect a team that has health and depth going into the postseason. It affects teams who start Dean Kramer against the Texas Rangers in Game 3, who start 55-year-old Lance Lynn in Game 3, 98-year-old Clayton Kershaw in Game 1. You know what I mean? Those are the teams that are affected. Orioles are better positioned now. They have Corbin Burnes and Zach Eflin, right? Before they were going, I mean, Game 1 was Kyle Bradish. I forget who I think Game 2 was rookie Grayson Rodriguez, which, you know, it's a rookie, right? So they're probably, I'd argue the Orioles are better positioned to win playoff games this year than last year. And last year they won 101 games and won the AL East. Regular season baseball is just different than playoff baseball. The percentage of innings thrown by guys who are not good decrease, right? Like, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to throw away the second game of that series, but if Marcus Stroman throws 3 innings in a game, it's a blowout game that either we're losing by a lot or winning by a lot. Honestly, I don't even know if he pitched in a game we're winning by more than, if we're not winning by 10 plus runs, I don't think Stroman even enters the mound. If it's a 5-run game, 6-run game, I don't think Stroman's pitching, guys. You're going to get more, hey, Luke Weaver's got to pitch. You're going to get less Clay Holmes. You're going to get less Clay Holmes. You're going to get more Luke Weaver, more Tommy Kahnle, more Jake Cousins if he's back. I'm blanking right now. No more Tim Hill. That's my dog. But I know I'm blanking on somebody else. I'm completely blanking on someone else. I feel like an a-hole. I'm completely blanking on a reliever who's been like really good for us lately.
Ian Hamilton.
Ian Hamilton. There you go. I'm like, dude, I feel like such a prick. There's totally someone I'm forgetting. You can move guys to the bullpen. Hey, let's say Schmidt comes out of the bullpen or Heel comes out of the bullpen. You can do that. Losing Nestor sucks because, you know, I thought he was one of their better reliever options among their starters. But it is what it is. Somehow Mark Leiter Jr. is pitching better. I don't know if that means he's going to pitch in the postseason, but hey, you know, and he just had a kid, so maybe he's got dad strength. This confirms that Mark Leiter bleeps. So yeah, maybe Cody Bootsy is a bullpen weapon. I don't know, but I promise you're not seeing, high leverage Tim Mesa. You're not seeing high leverage. You may not see high leverage Clay Holmes. Clay Holmes might be it's a 3-run game either way guy. He's coming in now. And you really have to worry about the series I'm worried about is more the ALCS because that's when you really test your pitching depth. But we'll see. We'll see with this group. We'll see kind of what they're able to do. The LDS shorter series, you're able to really you can go with a 4-5 man bullpen. Fitz Weaver, Canley, Hill, Hamilton, then Holmes the 5th guy. I'm fine with that, right? Your rotation, you move Keel to the bullpen. He comes out, that's a 6th guy. That'll work. It'll work. I'm not really I'm not pressed about the buy. This is the year to do it. This is the year to at least win the AL. This is the year to do it. It just straight up is. We've been hammering that point home for weeks, man.
Yeah, so one more shout out that I want to give to somebody, and he threw well this weekend, and I'm praying, listen, man, I pray to God that this doesn't completely blow over tonight because he's pitching tonight. I want to give a shout out to Carlos Rodón, dude. I think that this guy desperately deserves a shout out because of what he's been able to do post first half. I don't know if you've looked at those numbers and how great he's been. Carlos Rodón is a 2.87 ERA, 11 Ks per 9 in the second half, 1.2 F4. Has realistically in the second half gone toe-to-toe with Cole. And when you look at these numbers at a baseline, has really gone toe-to-toe with Gerrit Cole. And the home run thing still existed, but it's kind of slowed down a little bit. So I feel very, very confident about throwing out Carlos Rodón in a game 2 and a game 3, whatever, giving him a playoff start and feeling okay with him going out there and pitching and giving me valuable innings in the postseason. I don't think we could say that last year, Rye. I just feel like it was really scary with Rodón, and even during the first half, it was very up and down. But that's a guy I wanted to give a shout out to because he's been absolutely awesome. And what I think it's probably a good time to shift to is it's time to talk about scenarios, man. As far as this weekend, so the Yankees are 1 up on the Guardians for the 1 seed. They own the tiebreaker because they actually stomped on Cleveland this year, which is great. I actually do want to talk about Cleveland a little bit at some point, but they own that tiebreaker. They're up by a game. So I think they just need to win 1 game, I think, to clinch the American League. I think it's 2. Okay.
You win 1 and Cleveland drop 1. It's
then it's okay because they own that tiebreaker, which works, to be honest with you. So I personally expect the Yankees to walk in with the 1 seed. I think it makes sense. Even though you're going to see Jones and Skeens, they probably pull 1 out and just end up winning a singular game. And I don't think Cleveland sweeps Houston, even if they rest all of their guys. Houston, I don't think they end up sweeping them. But as far as postseason scenarios, so not a lot can really shift right now with the American League. So the Tigers and Royals are locked at the same record. The Twins and Mariners are 3 games back. So essentially one of those teams would have to get swept and the Twins or Mariners would have to win out to get one of those wildcard spots. So, which is highly unlikely. Kansas City kind of found their stride again. Detroit's still just on this crazy heater that they've been on for the last month and a half. And then Baltimore's there. They're probably not going to move unless they get swept at the weekend, which could actually happen because they're playing Minnesota, which would be absolutely absurd. But I don't think they're going to go anywhere. I think they're going to be slotted in that 4 seed and be okay. So what you're going to see round 1 of the postseason is the Yankees and the Guardians are going to get the bye. And if it started today, which I'm going to be honest, I think it kind of just sticks this way and it makes sense this way. You would see Houston play Kansas City and you'd say Baltimore play Detroit. Now, I think that you and I can probably look at each other and say that Houston probably takes care of Kansas City. I think that's pretty flat line. I would give Kansas City a fighter's chance to go out there and beat Houston, but I would take Houston 100% in that series. And then where it gets dicey is between Baltimore and Detroit, which is who the Yankees would end up playing. So what I'm thinking for Baltimore-Detroit, is really difficult because Detroit's been on this crazy heater. Their starting pitching has been out of this world. And then you got Baltimore, who I'm going to be honest, Rye, after seeing what the Orioles have been able to do to us this year, that's the only team that scares me right now. I think that they can probably get over the Houston hump and take care of them once and for all at some point if they end up facing them, because I just don't think it's the same Houston Astros team that we've seen over the past couple of years. But this Orioles team, they seem like they can't break the hump, and I think it was a great step last night being able to beat them, 10-0 or 10-1. I even forget what the final score is, 10-1. And that team getting over the hump would be a little bit difficult. But then I think that stepping into a playoff series with the Red Hot Tigers would be weird as well. So, Ryan, if there was a team that you would want to face out of Baltimore or Detroit, who would you go with? And then going into the CS, I would assume that you would go with Houston in the CS, because I probably would as well. How do you see this shaking up in the AL field and how the Yankees end up advancing past all of these teams?
So, I think personally, like I think I'd rather play Detroit than Baltimore. Like I know that Detroit's hot. They're hot at the right time. They give you some of those like Arizona Diamondbacks or not necessarily Phillies vibes. They don't really hit the way the Phillies do. Like the Phillies bang. You know what I mean? This is more like the Diamondbacks, right? You have Tariq Skubal. They had Zach Gallen. I'd argue I'd rather have Skubal than Gallen. I think Reese Olson can compete with a guy like Amaro Kelly. Their offenses were not particularly dominant. If you remember last year's Arizona Diamondbacks team had a below average WRC plus. They were just really fast and hit at the right time. So, perhaps that's what goes on with Detroit. I'm not ruling that out. They are pretty good. But I just have a really hard time saying, oh yeah, I'd rather play the team with Corbin Burns and Zach Eflin and, a deeper lineup, right? The advantage that Texas, that the Tigers have over Baltimore, and I think it's going to help them in the postseason. We'll see how far it gets them. Is that bullpen? They've called up Jackson Jobe. He throws a million miles an hour. They have Jason Foley, Tyler Holton, Will Vest, Brew Brisky. They have Brennan Hannafy. Like, they have dudes who just throw. They can throw some of their starters into the bullpen. We can see Casey Mize. We can see Brent Herter. Like, they've gotten creative with that. Kyler Montero carved us up last time we faced him, and he's been better in the second half. So, we'll see if he's an above average starter come October. I don't think that I look at Detroit the way I would look at, like, how I think I looked at Cleveland in 22, where it's like, we're going to beat them. But I would favor the Yankees in a series against Detroit. So I'm in the same thought process as you. I think Baltimore, they are scary because they have a pitcher like Corbin Burns who is just lights out. But do you think Corbin Burns is more beatable than Tariq Skubal is kind of the question. And I don't feel comfortable going either way, but I think Skubal's the best pitcher in baseball, so you can kind of infer what you would like to infer from there. I feel like and Skubal's such a bad matchup for the Yankees. He's like the worst possible matchup you could think of. Granted, he hasn't I know that he hasn't like quote unquote done it for more than 1 year, but like I don't care. Like I hate when people say that about like a Tariq Skubal type, where it's like, yeah, he's throwing 99, but I guess I have to see him do it for 2 years for me to be like, oh yeah, he's actually really good. Like, no, he throws 99 cheese, great changeup, great breaking ball. This is tough, man. This is tough. This like the AL. I think the Yankees are the best team in the AL. I do, but as you mentioned, it's just the matchups, right? Like, you start overthinking matchups. Maybe you start like kind of going back and forth on, is this, can we beat this team? Can we not beat this team? I'm going to just stick with the Yankees should hope for Detroit to pass by the Orioles. So, yeah.
I want to ask how you feel about Cleveland, because I had a conversation yesterday about Cleveland, and the conversation mainly surrounded around Emmanuel Clase. And it was like, Emmanuel Clase is like having one of the greatest reliever seasons like ever right now. Like, he's been incredible. Like, he's legitimately unhittable. And it was a conversation that I was actually having with my dad. And he was like, well, like, you get to the ninth inning with that guy, that game's over. Right. And granted, I totally understand that with Emmanuel Clase. He's an awesome pitcher. But I feel like if the Yankees see Cleveland in the playoffs, they will beat them in the first 8 innings. I don't think it's a matter of them getting to that ninth inning and being able to beat them. And furthermore, to Houston as well, because realistically, I think there's a scenario where the Yankees could play any single one of these teams outside of Kansas City. I think Kansas City is probably done, which kind of sucks because they were a really fun story this year. But and to Houston, the same degree. Do you think that is kind of a hump that the Yankees can finally get over, as they've kind of, I don't want to necessarily say aged out because it's like a new age Astros with all of their new young superstars, and they stomped on us last year. But again, they lost in the ALCS last year. So as far as Cleveland and Houston, do you think that the Yankees can beat those teams? And what would be the weaknesses for the Yankees against these specific teams?
So I agree with you on Cleveland. Like, the Yankees should handle Cleveland. The Yankees should handle Cleveland if they were to play Cleveland. I feel like the Yankees are firmly the better team. They have the better lineup. They have the better rotation. Obviously, Cleveland has a better bullpen, but as you mentioned, can the Yankees just beat them in the first two innings? I think they can. As for Houston, Houston's still very good. I think that they're also kind of a bad matchup because they have Yusei Kikuchi and Framber Valdez. Those are left-handed pitchers. Kikuchi has been really good in the second half. He's kind of killed the Yankees too. He's had moments where it's like, why can't the Yankees hit this guy?
He was great in Toronto against the Yankees. He was awesome.
Yeah, he did a job against the Yankees more times than I'm comfortable admitting, considering now he's on Houston. Looking at a team like Houston, like I'm not saying that they're like a team where it's like, oh, they're so dominant, they're this, and that. This is the 2022 Astros. Like, no. The Yankees, there's no excuse for the Yankees to not be. If the Yankees get dominated by the Astros, like, I'm not going to sit here and say, well, it's the Astros. What do you expect? It's going to be like, no. This is extremely disappointing. This is unacceptable. Like, it can't happen. But I think they're a better team than Cleveland. I know that Cleveland has the bye, and that Houston doesn't. But I think Cleveland's beatable more so than Houston. If I'm being honest with you got to root for KC to do a job. I hope Kansas City gets hot and beats them. I really do. Granted, look, anything could happen in October. We could be talking about, I hope Kansas City beats this team, and that we get to play Cleveland in the ALCS, and then it's Kansas City wins. They go on to win the World Series, right? Or Detroit, same situation there, where it's like they go on to go to the World Series or win the World Series, or we're like, we'd really hate to play Baltimore, and then we beat the crap out of Baltimore, and we get stomped by an AL Central team. Like the baseball playoffs, it's really weird. But to kind of finalize again here, Cleveland, they're beatable. The Yankees can beat Cleveland. I feel the same way in terms of like the Yankees can beat Houston, but I think they present a much greater challenge to New York Yankees than the Guardians do.
Yeah, I think they should be able to beat the field. I feel like the Yankees this year have been able to cement themselves as the best team in the American League. And even when you look at the head-to-head matchups, like the Yankees stomped on Houston this year. And that was like, granted, it was earlier in the year. It was like a totally different baseball team than what we've seen now. Like Alex Verdugo was actually a competent baseball player back then. But like that was a very unfair matchup. Like the Yankees stomped on Houston. There was like 7 games that they played them. Cleveland stomped on them this year. Detroit, real funky team that you just don't like to play. But like Kansas City stomped on them. Baltimore's the only one that really gave them the fit. So like you're right. I think you just kind of, root for the Royals and just kind of see what shakes out. And what's going to be awesome for us for the next week is we're going to be able to kind of break down, everything as far as matchups, as far as these other teams and like, how is this player going to play against that player? I think it's going to be a really fun week for us just because we have this, we're going to have this 4-day layover period where there's going to be nothing going on. So I think next week is going to be a lot of fun for us. And I just kind of want to flip to the NL. Like, if the Yankees were to make the World Series, I think there's 2 teams that I would want to see, in the World Series. I know this is, getting a little adventurous and, they just won their division. But if they were to get to the World Series, I would want to see one of those top 2 seeds. I think the Mets would be a lot of fun to play in the World Series. But I just don't think that they will even make it that far. Actually, I'll extend this to 3. There are 3 teams that I would want to see. I think Yankees-Dodgers World Series would be unbelievably hard. And it's like the paper matchup that you see at the beginning of every single year and you have for the past like decade. It's just never happened. But with, Ohtani, Judge, and like that whole discourse, and then everybody else in the accompanying pieces, like that would be a really fun team to play. Philly would be very fun just because of the distance. And for me personally, where I'm at, I would absolutely love it because everybody around me would absolutely hate me. And I'm the one Yankee fan and a sea of Philly people. Like I'm 40 minutes away from CBP. So that would be an absolute blast. And then the final one that I think would be a lot of fun for us to see in the postseason would be the San Diego Padres. that would literally be the refacing of the Juan Soto trade. And I was talking about it a couple of days ago, is that might be one of the biggest, like if the Yankees are able to re-sign Juan Soto and, the Padres have continued success with the pieces that they got back, that might be one of the biggest win-win trades in history, because you get Michael King, who went over to San Diego and absolutely shoved, like became a legitimate Cy Young contender out there for San Diego. They were able to flip through Thorpe into Dylan Cease. They have Dylan Cease now, who's been awesome for him out there. He threw a no-hitter this year. And then obviously the Yankees get Juan Soto back, who's been this generational, unbelievable hitter and has just transformed what this New York Yankee team is. So I think that would be a really cool matchup, just because it's like refacing that trade. And like you see Michael King in game 2 or game 3 of a World Series against the New York Yankees compared to what he was doing last year. That would be an unbelievable storyline. So Ron, what I'll ask you now is like, what is your like dream World Series matchup for these Yankees, man? I feel like this would be a really fun scenario if they end up getting there.
This is gonna be like real a-hole stuff. I hope we face the Brewers, because I think we could beat the crap out of the Brewers. I don't want to face the Dodgers. I don't want to face the Phillies. I don't want to face the Mets. Like, dude, the Mets, I like, they killed Gerrit Cole twice. I really don't want to see them. Also, we lose the World Series to the Mets, and I cannot leave my house for like, I can't really be, I can't like, I'll go into like hiding like that. That'd be really bad. Now if we beat them, man, I'll be loud. But no, seriously, like dude, like I just want to face the team that I think like isn't as good as the other ones. And I think the Brewers are that team. Like, give me, I don't know, Arizona or like Milwaukee. Like Arizona, I think they're solid, but like they just can't pitch. Yeah, give me one of those two teams. I don't want to see it.
You want to see Jake Bauers in the World Series, dude?
Yeah, man. I want to see it. Let me please. Yeah, please.
Jake Bauers and Aaron Savali.
Yeah, I would Frankie Montas. Like, yeah, please, God, like give me this, because I said this. The Brewers are gonna like, dude. Because I said this is gonna happen. The Brewers are gonna like sweep us in 4.
Well, they would play Arizona right
yeah,
now.
They have to play the wild card round.
They would play Arizona.
Yes.
Which, like, dude, that's such a mid-off series.
Yeah, like give me.
It's such a mid-off series, but like I like the Braves and Mets still have that weird thing with the weather and stuff. So,
I
like,
really wouldn't want to see the Braves.
Like, I wouldn't want to see the Braves because they get hot at the right times.
Right. If they got to the World Series,
Chris Sale is unbelievable. Like, and that team is tormented with injuries.
They also have 2 lefties in Fried and Sale, and like I don't mean to be like this is like not the episode to be like doomer, but like I don't want to know what Chris Sale would do to the Yankees. Like, I don't want to know what he would do.
We've seen it. We
did. It was not pretty.
We've seen it. No, it was awful.
Nor do I really want to see like I don't know. Like, there are some teams that just kind of give me nightmares because of like recent regular season matchups. And like the Braves are one of them.
It's like seeing like Eovaldi or seeing like Christian Javier or like one of those guys.
Yeah, man. Like, dude, I remember like 2023 versus the Braves might be the single like most helpless series I've ever seen the Yankees play. Like, it was literally like coughing baby versus nuclear bomb.
That like was it was 8 runs,
and Schmidt got killed. Schmidt gave up the 8 runs. Severino was awful, but like Schmidt was the one who got bombed.
Oh,
like,
that's right.
He got killed. Yeah. He got murdered.
Because Schmidt last year was really weird. He would like have really good spots. He would go like 3 or 4. Have really good outings in a row, and then would give up like an 8-piece, and that was like to Atlanta.
I just like, dude, that team. Like, granted, that team is not as good as they were last year, and I will say like the Braves are not like the second or first team that I would be scared of. Again, it's the Phillies who I think I'm the most scared of, because the Dodgers, I feel like it would just be a lot of runs, and I feel like we could go band for band with the Dodgers in terms of runs. The Phillies, they have so much pitching. They have 2 quality lefties in Suarez and Sanchez. Granted, we did like snatch their chain in CBP. Like, I was in that city recently, and good Lord, does that city blow? Like, good. And I was walking around, just like, good God, man. Philadelphia. I mean, I really I was, one of the best parts of my trip was leaving Philadelphia. One of the worst parts was being there. I'm not gonna lie. That place.
The Phillies feel so fugazi to me.
Really? I feel like they give me they're gonna win the World Series vibes.
They feel very fugazi to me because they feel like 2022 Yankees.
That's fair.
They feel so much like 2022 Yankees, where like They were awesome, like historic start to the year. They had like the 8 All-Stars or whatever, like the Yankees did in 22, and the Yankees were on like this crazy historic pace and just kind of fall off second half, get that little jolt right at the end, and then they get that by, and then they go into their ALDS matchup and just kind of fall flat and go 5 and then get swept. Like they feel very fugazi to me. Like Christopher Sanchez and Ranger Suarez give me like total 2022 Nestor vibes. And like we love Nestor. Like he's awesome and was great for the stretch like last year, or this year. But like that season was unbelievably fugazi because he was like a top 5 pitcher in baseball and then just has not been a top 5 pitcher in baseball since. So I don't know what it is. I can't get past that team. And like, granted, like go ahead, Phils, like go out there, prove me wrong, man. Like I would love nothing more than to see this team in the World Series, but like, I don't know what it is, dude. I cannot get past them, like just being so 2022 Yankee coded. That like I don't know. That's
I
just
hear
me.
you. I just like I like their pitchers a lot. Like I really like
That's
their
fair.
pitching. Their bullpen's they've got so many dudes like Estevez, Hoffman, Orion Carriking, Matt Strahm, Jose Alvarado. Like it's just dude after dude after dude.
Yeah.
And like granted, I will say this: Taijuan Walker might be the funniest pitcher on planet Earth.
God,
Like,
he's so bad. He is
and like
unbelievably bad.
I feel like one of the Phillies' biggest weaknesses is their 5th starter, and like you don't need a 5th starter in October. Like Taijuan Walker does not need to throw a single pitch in the postseason, and that
I was asked to go to a Phillies game a couple days ago, and I looked up who was starting for the Phillies, and I simply said no because Taijuan Walker was pitching.
It's kind of crazy. How bad he is.
I was like, I'm good, man. I think I'm okay. You know.
Like it's just kind of crazy how bad he is. You know what I mean? Like I don't even like mean to rag on the guy, but like he's like specially bad. You know what I mean? Like he's a
Taijuan
different
Walker
level.
Taijuan Walker has literally like he's been like a decent starter, but like was never really good until
No.
COVID. He was part of that weird like COVID spike where he was like randomly good.
Yeah.
And then had that like decent year in 22 with the Mets, and then the Phillies gave him like a bag.
Yeah,
right?
which like
4 years 72. Like that was the like Tyone free agency year where
Yep.
Tyone got 4 years 72. And like granted, like I love Tyone, like he's a great dude. But like I don't think JMO is worth 4 years 72.
At least his ERA this year is good. Like at least he's
been good this year, dude. Like he's still a 2-WAR guy this year.
Yeah,
3.41
ERA
like,
over 158 innings. I think the Cubs would tell you, yeah, we'd sign up. I think this is the pitcher they probably were paying for, like $17 million
like
a year.
That's
not
perfect.
bad.
Oh, he got less money than Taijuan Walker. Taijuan Walker got more money than Jameson Tyone. That's unbelievable. And like, how old is Jameson's 32? Like,
yeah, Walker is. Cubs
are just a mess, though. My lord, that franchise is just in hell.
The other team that kind of like I'm kind of sad they're not in the playoffs, like the Twins. Like it's depressing that they're not in.
Yeah,
you ask me, like when I look at the ALDS, man, I always like, all right, where are the Twins? Like where are they? Because this is easy. This is gonna be an easy.
I think that team is so funny to me. That team is so funny to me. Like, and I low-key like feel bad for the Twins just because of Royce Lewis's injury inconsistencies and Byron Buxton just being an absolute cone and the Carlos Correa contract. And like, I don't know, man. I kind of feel bad for them. I feel like they should be a lot better than what they are.
They literally have like multiple like generational talents. Like Buxton's a generational talent, not like a player,
awesome.
But talent.
Yeah, he's
can't stay
awesome.
healthy. Correa that guy was like a Hall of Fame pace and he just keeps getting hurt. And it's not like on a per rate basis, they're good. It's just that they're not, it's per rate, and per rate means you have to take away games played. But I'm actually really like, it feels like every postseason, it's like, all right, we're getting the Twins.
It's a fun match. I think it's a fun matchup personally. I like
because
enjoy
we win.
Because we win. But like, it's also like, those are very like gutsy, like back and forth series, like, and they have a good ball club, man. And like, I would much rather, and like, we beat up on both of these teams, but like, I'd much rather play Minnesota than play Cleveland because I feel like it's more fun to play Minnesota. Like,
I hate playing
Cleveland,
Cleveland. That's annoying.
Cleveland, their Twitter admin is one of the worst humans on the planet, and is like just super annoying, and like doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Why this dude is such a generational hater, like for no reason, and like that is just dumb and annoying to me. So I'd much rather go and play Minnesota because these people from Cleveland, the only great person from Cleveland, only two great people from Cleveland, granted, are LeBron James and Baker Mayfield. Like, what is this? What is this, man? Cleveland, don't want to see you. I
Dude,
almost
that
said one,
tweet.
but then I forgot who I was talking to. I was talking to you, and I had to say Baker Mayfield.
Technically, Baker wasn't born in Cleveland, so he made a pit stop in Cleveland. So you know what I mean? Like
That's true.
LeBron is
That's
from Cleveland,
true.
so we'll have to
Just
we'll
Tampa
keep
now.
it to one. And I
It's
also would like
fine.
to point out, like, yeah, like playing the Gardens also, like, I will never get over the fact that in that series, like, it was just like fly popped up to left field and the ball drops, and it's like I don't want to watch. I hate baseball. That
Right.
series,
Yeah.
we won that series, granted, and it was the most miserable 5-game experience of my life. Like,
Yeah.
not
It
the
was
most
awful.
miserable, but it was
It was
extremely miserable.
awful. The Schmidt blown save sucked.
Dude, that game, that because it
Oscar
was. Do you remember how it happened too? It was like
Oscar
bloop.
Gonzalez.
It
Like
was he hits a slider like 15 feet away from the zone, and it was like dink after dink after dink after dunk
yeah,
after this, and it's like I can't. No, I hate baseball. Like that's where I was really at. That's that game. Like that was like crash out
that was
level
so
bad.
annoying. And then
I
the rain
yeah
out, the rain out
yeah.
game 5, then straight to the CS. Like sucked. Like
They nothing good happens while we play Cleveland. Like we
that
win, but
was
like it's horrible.
it was the most annoying thing ever when they had the rain out game and then they played at home and like beat Cleveland. It was like just a really fun win. And then it was like next day, oh, you got to ship up to Houston, by the way.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
by the way,
led
you got
to
to go play
game
Houston.
one, Tyone start, and Boone
Like,
had to put out the punt bullpen. In a
yeah,
game where like it was granted they just didn't hit in that series. Like I
I,
always hit like they didn't hit.
that's the last thing I want to do this year is have to do that. It was
Right.
awful.
Like just at least hit this year. You know what I mean? Like just let's.
But here's the thing now, home field advantage. So like even if
Right.
that shit happens, you get home field advantage. So if you play one day and then you got to play the next day, at least you're not traveling cross country. So get your business done this weekend and go, take that one seat, do whatever, because I don't want to see Cleveland get it because they're not fun.
I would agree. I think that's where I'm at. I just go. Let's go do a job, folks. There's a job that can be done. There's a job that should be done.
100%. And I think that we will probably, Monday we'll probably get together and do a little, post regular season dip into postseason kind of thing. And we will discuss opponents and that kind of shit and just really break everything down because it's an incomplete season right now. We're just kind of getting out the emotion of what ended up happening last night. So it was a lot of fun.
And so one of these next episodes will be my last episode as a teenager, which I have like,
which is awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome,
really
but like
excited.
Also existential crisis over no longer being a teenager. But I'll get over that. Yeah, one of these will be the last one. One will be the last one as a teenager. So like Sam and I our ages will start with the same number. It'll start at 2.
Yes.
So
yes.
Yeah, we're 1 year. We're 1 year away from having some serious fun with Fireside Yankees. They're 1 year away from
100%
having some serious fun with FSY, folks.
I had a sip of champagne last night and it put me on my ass. So I don't know if I'm turning 25 or if I'm turning 50. So.
I will. Have you seen the video of like Cole getting? Oh, have you seen? Of course you've seen. Like the video of Cole getting beer dumped on him.
Oh yeah.
Like dude. Yeah. If the Yankees win a World Series, now granted, that will be with a non-alcoholic beverage, of course. Maybe some sparkling water. I'm a big sparkling water guy.
For sure,
that will be me.
For sure,
yeah, that will be me. I just like let's get a job done. Like we're here. We've won the division. Like that was the first like big challenge for this team. Now it's up to them to kind of respond to the upcoming challenges. We don't know who they'll play yet. We kind of have an idea, but just beat the team in front of you. Just win the series. Win the series. Win the series. Do a job. Do a job. Do a job. Because now it's man. It's chills, man. I'm getting chills.
We're ready to rock, dude.
October's here, man. We're
ready to rock. I don't think I'm gonna feel it until I shave off my beard. So
I don't know if I'll be able to like focus on anything.
And that's on
postseason.
Monday. So
Yeah,
that's on Monday.
dude.
One last note before we dip.
Absolutely.
The bottles of champagne that the Yankees were popping last night. Did you see how much they were?
$1,900, so $2,000 basically.
This was an on sale price, so it was $2,400.
Jesus Christ!
$2,400.
The Yankees don't take care of their players. They take care of their players.
100%. And if they don't re-sign Juan Soto, and we're out here buying these BS bottles to celebrate a division championship, there will be serious questions.
It's so I couldn't believe the price tag, and I agree. I couldn't believe like
It's
the price
nuts.
tag, like $100. You know what I mean? You'd be like, wow, it's a lot for a bottle, but you know what I mean? Like 2,000, and they were just popping them like nothing. It was so funny. The interview where like they're dumping the bottles, and you just hear like,
oh yeah,
that was so funny.
And that's just money. That's just money. You're just hearing money.
Hey, they're recycling it at least.
Yeah, 100%.
That's what matters. The Yankees.
Eco-friendly Yanks, man.
Last time I checked, the Baltimore Orioles not only had Jackson Holliday, an underage person in a room full of alcohol, which I mean, just the horror, the deplorable. I mean, what are the examples they're setting for these children out there? If you're 20, you can go drink alcohol. Terrible, deplorable, disgusting. And did you see them recycling their cans and bottles?
Did not.
Are the Baltimore Orioles eco-friendly? Eco. Wow, I said equal. Eco-friendly, and do the Baltimore Orioles promote underage drinking? These are questions we're gonna have to ask.
America, who are you rooting for?
Exactly.
Who are you rooting for?
Does America? Are we at the point where we're rooting for a team that allows 20-year-olds to be around alcohol?
Yeah, like what America? What are we rooting for?
Exactly. No,
Jason. Is Jason Dominguez 21?
He's 21. Yeah.
Oh, he is.
Finally 21. Yeah, we're good.
Okay. I was about to say
yeah,
that.
we're good.
I was like, is
No,
Jason
then
Dominguez
see,
20?
like I had to shield my 5-year-old son's eyes.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Anyways,
he's 21. Okay,
yeah,
all right, that's fair.
Yeah, I had to shield my 5-year-old's eyes, man. It was. He cried to his mom. Mommy, they can't be doing this.
J-Dom, I love you, by the way.
I do love him.
Don't listen to any of the BS in the media, dude. The left field thing, they should have had you up a month before that. So, I don't give a shit about that whatsoever.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think that's a perfect point for us to now transition to this beautiful sign off because,
yes, sir,
folks, thank you so much for listening, and your New York Yankees again are the AL East champions. It's one step. The job is not finished. But it is one step towards their ultimate goal, which is trying to win the World Series. If you guys enjoyed today's episode, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, turn the notification bell, and check us out on our various other social media platforms. We've got Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, and of course this Twitter page, all under the handle at Fireside Yankees, except for Instagram where it's fireside.yankees. And Sam, it's Friday. Yesterday was Thursday. We had a pretty entertaining Thursday night game because it was close. If you want to make money this weekend, how do we make money this weekend? Like I want to, not me, but if someone wants to make money this weekend, how do they make some money?
You join the Discord and you start talking to Jack Clayton because he hangs out bangers every single day for every single sport. Football this weekend, boys. I'm trying to make some money. I'm trying to lock something in. Shout out to the Giants last night. Sold the bag, but that's okay. We're going to move to Sunday. Guys, Fireside bets on every single platform. I'm tossing out parlays every single day. We will be tossing out a TD score parlay this week. We toss out parlays for every single primetime game. Guys, go follow Fireside Bets. We just hit 9,000 followers on TikTok. That page is blown up like crazy. About to 12,000 on Instagram. We have the YouTube channel as well. So, guys, if you want to make money, slide on Fireside Bets. You'll see me on there. That's why I'm wearing the green today, because we're trying to make the money, and I'm doing Fireside Bets today. So, let's make some bread. Slide on me.
Yes, sir. And I'm so excited. I'm so excited for the rest of this NFL season, man. This is going to be fun. FSB is where it's at. We're rolling. So, with that being said, again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great weekend, everybody. Enjoy your weekend. Do it responsibly, unlike the Baltimore Orioles with Jackson Holliday. And peace out.
Perfect.